This is Kit or Miss, your weekly podcast where we run down the best and worst kits of the World Cup. Today we're heading off to where the World Cup is. We're heading off to North America. So we're going to look at some of the hosts, not so much of a spoiler there, as well as those who are in their confederation. I'm Matt Dick. It is great to be with you once again. Phil Delves joins me. Phil, great to see you. How you doing?
Oh, very well, Matt. How are you?
I'm really well. Really looking forward to diving into this list because there's some really nice kits coming in this list. I think the whole of the North America's kits are really nice. They've got the World Cup and they're celebrating it hard by having some really nice kits. So really looking forward to this rundown. We're going to dive straight in. In at number 5, where are we going to?
This is one of those host nations that you mentioned. This is Canada's away shirt. And I think this one has a really effective visual for me. I don't know for sure if the pattern is supposed to be kind of icy, but it very much looks like that, doesn't it? And I like that, this kind of black ice, which obviously we want to avoid when we're driving. But in this case, I think it works well. And, you know, with lots of black kits out there, some teams go for kind of an all black look. Others, black and gold is quite a popular colorway, which looks really good. But I like the black and red. Obviously, it makes sense for Canada. Having that little bit of red there, but it's just that pattern. I really like the way that it looks like, again, you've kind of got like the maple leaf and the ice. There's a bit of both there. So I think it's an effective pattern, which works on that black base. I could see this one being very popular. It's a good choice, I think, going into the tournament to do something a little bit fun. Bit fun.
I think if you covered up the badge, didn't show the badge, and said to people in the streets, guess what nation this is, they would probably take a punt at Canada because it's almost, the ice is maple leaf-esque, isn't it?
I think so. And yeah, I think it's the kind of, like you say, it's once you see it, you're like, okay, I can, you hear about it, and okay, that works. I like this one.
Yeah, it's a very nice kit. I'm going to be talking about Canada later on in a little bit, so we'll come back and chat Canada. For me, I've gone for another host nation in at number 5. I've gone for the United States away kit. Now, in our episodes before the World Cup got underway, you chose the 94 America kit as your best ever, wasn't it?
It was, yep.
And I feel they've sort of done a little callback to it here. This one is much darker. It's much more of a dark navy. They do have a star design in it. But again, as we've mentioned in previous episodes, it is very much going on that embossed design. And when you see it up close and you see the stars, you go, that's really clever. And it's a nice balance. Home kit is the stripes. The away kit is the stars. Very nice. I like that sort of thematic overview of both kits. It's down at number 5 because I feel that the stars probably could have been lighter. They could have put them in white and got away with it, and it would probably mirror that 94 kit much better, and you'll be able to see them. People probably still really like this kit because it is very smart. It's not an all-black kit, which I'm not a fan of, but it's done very well. They've called it American blue. It's navy blue, let's be honest. But I think if they brought out the detailing of those stars a little bit more, it could have gone a lot higher because it's a very nice kit, but it had potential for more. So that's why it's at number 5 for me, because it's nice, but there's room for improvement. So for me, United States away kit is at number 5, but I believe you're going to mention it a little bit later on in this episode.
Yeah, I do think, just briefly on what you said there regarding how visible the stars are, I like the direction, but I agree that I think more visible stars would have probably won people over. I feel like we do need a sign that we can tap every time we have an embossed pattern. So you need to see this in person. There's probably been a thing, hasn't it, of all these kits or all these episodes, so far. But No, I like this choice in the top five.
Yeah, it's a solid start. So off to number 4, where we heading off, Phil?
Going to Panama, and this kit looks like it could have came out 20 years ago. It has a kind of a bit of a 90s noughties feel to it. So in that sense, you could argue it's a bit of an old school look. I certainly think so, with the way the panels are there and the piping and the collar. But I like that, and because there aren't many kits that have this kind of slightly older aesthetic, it stands out because of that. There isn't necessarily a lot going on, but I like that slightly more retro approach. And given how many nations again go for a more streamlined look, you don't often see, at least across the teams at this year's World Cup, many kits with that kind of piping. Again, I think that there's been a wave of that in the club scene, because we're at that point now where, the early noughties were 20, 25 years ago. So that is almost considered retro, which is funny, but that is the stage you're at. So this look, again, it feels kind of like a throwback. I'm not aware of Panama's kit history. My knowledge doesn't stretch that far, but I don't know if this is referencing an old Panama kit. But regardless, I like it. And it does actually, again, I think it has its own place, given how few kits have this particular look.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how many Reebok kits are actually at this year's competition. I don't think there's that many.
Might be the only one.
So it's interesting they've gone retro when others have sort of pushed forward. They've gone back to kits that are very popular. So a strong choice. Panama at number 4, Panama's home kit. For me, I mentioned we're going to be going back to Canada. That's where we're heading now. I really like their home kits. In fact, I like all 3 of their kits. I really like their away kit. I like the away kit, which the third kit, which is basically the mirror of this in white. But the home kit is a 2-tone red with a maple leaf on the front, and the 2-tone shades of red work really nice in images. If it works as well on the pitch, it'll be good to see. But I think it's a really smart kit. As a host nation, to have this as your kit, you'll be pleased, I would think, because it's very smart. It's got something that people immediately identify as Canadian in the maple leaf. It's that bold red that Canada is so well known for, and they've got the strongest Canadian squad they've had possibly ever. So to have their best players playing in what I think could be one of the best kits they've ever had is really, really smart. So again, we mentioned in our previous episode about the Nike flyaway shoulders. We'll see if it becomes an issue, but looking just purely on a pictorial basis of it, I think it's very sleek, very smart. And in my notes, I said, is it maybe too subtle? Could they maybe put an outline on it? Possibly, but actually looking at it now, I don't know if an outline would have made it any better. I think that probably maybe made it a little bit more clean. Maybe on the white one, and a bold outline, a black outline on it might have worked. But on the home one, I think it's very sleek, 2-tone, very nice. Big fan of this Canadian home kit. So I think as a Canadian fan, if you're seeing all 3 of those kits, you've got a good choice of options to get behind your nation. So for me, at number 4, it is Canada at home.
I would say, well, I think I want a bit more from the pattern. Having said that, there have been recent Canada kits where they were a bit busier. So in that sense, they've gone a little bit more sleek. So it makes sense. I really like the idea, and I think ultimately it is quite an effective look. It will look good on the pitch as well. I'm expecting that. So I do like this one. It narrowly missed my top 5 because I kind of wanted maybe a little bit more, detail potentially, or at least a little bit more of that leaf. I would have liked to have seen that. Having said that, I can't argue with the choice given the way they've gone about it.
It's a really fine balance, isn't it, between getting a really nice design but pushing it to being too busy. So I think it just strays onside for me. So I think it works. It works.
Yep.
We're heading off number 3, a kit we've already mentioned, but one you're a fan of.
Yeah, I like the USA way, and we talked about it a lot, of course. this one having the star detail, so it is subtle. Um, and I think it was interesting, given that there's the obvious reference to '94, the last time they hosted those kits, which I think, again, for me, they are the best, or certainly the most iconic World Cup of kits of all time. They could have done a more obviously denim look, and I kind of liked that they didn't, because at the end of the day, that kit is always going to stand out, and it's impossible, I think, to replicate that, without it feeling a little bit obvious.
Yeah.
So I like that they've gone for the darker color. Not typically, often USA have had a much lighter blue for their away, or indeed they've had some red away kits, but this being a very, very dark navy, I like it. I like the shade. It's almost black. It's so dark. It's a very, very, very striking shade. But I believe the crest and the swoosh might be in a silver. I'm not sure, or maybe it's white. I can't actually tell. But regardless, it was one of my favorite kits of CONCACAF, of North America's. And I like that they referenced the old kit without just doing the obvious path. That to me is a strong choice, which maybe won't land as well initially for a lot of people. People would have loved a denim remake, to see them do it again. But I think this one has its own identity whilst having that nice little nod.
Do you think if they made the stars denim?
Hey, you know what? I like that. I think you're onto something there. A little bit of denim. Yeah, that okay. That's that. I feel like that would satisfy everyone.
Yeah, Nike, give me a shout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that would work, to be honest. I think it'd be a bit too much. But I'd say it's that callback to '94, isn't it? So yeah, very, very nice. For me, I've gone for Mexico's home kit, which I think is really nice, but I think it's really strange because it wasn't the kit they were originally going to have. There was a big bit of controversy about the Mexico kit. They leaked it to see what people thought. I thought it was quite a nice kit. I didn't think there was much wrong with it, but it didn't go down well in Mexico from all reports. So they've gone back to the drawing board and referenced a kit from '98. Now, I believe, if I remember correctly, you mentioned this in our best ever episode. So they've gone back to a timeless classic. So maybe that's because of the timeline they were working with. Maybe they went back to something that people would love. I think it's really nice. Obviously, a kit that can successfully bring in their heritage, bring in their culture without making it so obvious that it's a distraction. But I think it's a really nice kit. The way they've done it works really well. The patterns on the trim, really nice. It's sort of, we mentioned before about the flag. There isn't, yes, it isn't explicitly the Mexico flag, but it's got the colours of that flag in there. So I think it works really, really well with the bird in the middle of it. I'm just noticing now as we talk. It's busy, but I don't think it strays too far away from being too busy. I don't think it's on the back. I think it would be nice if it was all the way around. Having it just pure green, yes, with the numbers and the names. But having it on the back, I think would be a nice symmetrical option. But I think it's a nice kit, some really intricate design. Marking the Aztecs. So I think for a last minute rebrand and recreation, I think they've gone back to the drawing board and done really well to come up with something that's really nice and stands up. So for me, it's at number 3. So we're going to head off to number 2, find out what is just missing out on Phil's top spot. Phil, where are we heading?
I like America's home shirt. So the USA home shirt, which, like the away, has a '94 reference. The '94 USA home is less remembered, but that one had the stripes theme, whereas obviously the denim away had the stars. So this one is a play on the stripes, and I think the way that you've got the way that the stripes are kind of wavy on the shirt, I like that. Ultimately, striped kits, I think, very much have their place. But it's hard to innovate on a stripe kit. But to have the wavy pattern, we've seen it on 1 or 2 kits, but it's not often done, and I think it works well. with the gradient. Could be argued there's a lot going on there, but I do think it's effective. And this is also not only a reference to the 94 home, but there was a very popular kit, I think it was around 2010 or in the 2010s, where USA had a red and white hooped kit, which was referred to as the Where's Waldo kit or the Where's Wally kit if you're in the UK, and that was very popular. So it was a good time to bring that back because of the history and its popularity with the USA fans. So I think this one, as a compliment to the away, is a great shout, and it's the perfect time to do it. Again, you're a host nation, you're going to be having all sorts of flags, going about anyway. Why not have a kit that really leans into that heavily? Yeah. And I think if they'd have gone a little bit, they almost over tipped the scales, the balance. But I like they've gone just far enough for me for it to land well. So that's the USA home shirt as my number 2 CONCACAF kit.
If it had been straight bands, would it have been as popular, or do you think because it is the wave almost of the flag that has actually pushed it as high as you've got it?
I think if it was straight bands, it would be a bit too similar to that 2010s kit.
Right.
I think this one needed something different. In some ways, it might have landed better with people, but I think in order to give it its own identity, they've gone with that. So I like the decision. From memory, the 94 home as well had a bit of a waviness to it, but I'd have to check again. But yeah, I think it's a bold move. This is a very interesting one. I don't think I've seen pictures of this on the pitch yet, so looking forward to see this one very shortly.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting design, but I don't think I want every hooped kit to replicate. I think because it is so reminiscent of the flag, that's why it works. I think if every hooped team decided to go, I think it would look like just on top. If Celtic went for white and green like that, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't look the same. But there we go. So America at number 2 for Phil. For me, I've gone for what potentially could be the tightest kit based on pictures we've seen. The Haitians must be absolutely ripped. So they've got 3 kits that are very, very similar, which I quite like. One in red, one in blue, one in white. I've gone for the white one. I'm not quite sure which one is which, so I've gone for Haiti in white. And I think the white one works the best. The red and blue are cool, but the white one is the nicest. It's slightly darker on the sleeves. It's got a really nice bold red collar that stands out in the white. The collar's sort of lost in the other ones because I think it's red throughout, so it doesn't quite work as well. But for me, the white on red works really nice. Again, as we mentioned with Japan in the last episode, everything is central, which is nice. It's an independent brand, so a nice see another name at the World Cup. But the reason that I put it as high as I did is the detailing at the bottom, where they have a couple of people, it looks like some sort of historical reference, and the Haitian flag at the bottom. And I really like that. It's in all 3 kits, but because the flag is blue and red, you lose it on the blue and red kits, where on the white, it completely stands out because it's in what looks like a grey, could be a silver. I think that actually works really well. So the concept is quite clever. Carrying it across the 3 kits is unique. But this, for me, it works the best on this one because you've got the difference in the colour. So surprisingly, I've gone for a white kit as high as I have, but I think everything just seems to work really well. Everything they want to accentuate has really been brought out. So I really like this Haiti kit. The white kit, I'm not quite sure which version it is, home, away, or the third kit, but if we could see this one, that would be, I think it is the best of the 3 that they've put forward. See,
whilst I agree that it's the white one's the best, none of the kits, the Haitian kits, landed for me. I didn't like them. So this is, a rare moment of disagreement, because broadly speaking, I think we do see eye to eye, or at least, broadly. I couldn't really, with the pattern, it felt to me a little bit too small. I felt like relative to the kit, and I think this might be an issue with the way it's been rendered, because even with the fit, I'm assuming this is just, again, this looks to me like a 3D rendering of a kit rather than the actual shirt. I think that's what's happening. So perhaps some of my misgivings would be relieved in the actual shirt. We'll wait and see. But for me the pattern, it just felt a little bit too kind of restricted in that bottom corner. Perhaps that was they didn't want it to be too big. It might have got in the way of all the numbers and all that stuff. I honestly I won't give too many spoilers, but it may or may not feature in a later episode for me. So, hey, this is the great thing about kits. We talked about this before. I do love that coming onto this pod with you. We have some similar ideas, but you do bring something different to myself, and I like that. Even if honestly this one wasn't anywhere near my list.
Yeah, right. Well, there you go. So if it was bigger, more obvious, JK would be better.
I think for me, I'd like it to be more of a feature. Perhaps for it to be a little bit less literal. Now, again, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you want to see the thing for what it is, right? But I'm more of the fan of, like we talked about with the New Zealand kits, slightly more abstract. I think I would have liked something more of that nature. Having said that, I would agree, like you said, the white one at least I think works the best. With the blue and the red, that problem I think is exaggerated. But with the white, I think more of the pattern. Ultimately, I think as well, I do want to see this kit on the pitch, because I have a suspicion that this is more of an issue with the way this has been rendered. But maybe they are skin tight, which would be very funny if the Haitians just end up standing out. And it would be kind of, we've seen that in previous major tournaments with the likes of Italy at Euro 2000 when they had the Kappa kits, and that was incredible. Maybe they're trying to do that. I don't know. We'll wait and see.
It's one of those we're actually really excited to see what it looks like on the pitch. And because that can change how we view it completely, doesn't it? So, Haiti at number 2 for me. Rounded off our list, Phil, where are we going as your top choice for the Americas or North America rundown?
Well, I'd say it's great that we're giving some of the smaller nations a shout, and no disrespect to Curacao, but they are one of the, I forget if they're the smallest. I've seen stats about them. They are. Is it the smallest nation ever?
I believe they are, yeah.
Is that in terms of population or size, or one of those, isn't it? And that is amazing. This away shirt is just wonderful. It's largely for me down to the colours of the 3 stripes, because they've got 3 different colours on the 3 stripes, which Adidas sometimes do, but they don't always do. But I love it here. I think it works so well. And this is the kind of kit, it works. It almost looks like just like a lifestyle item, like just like a shirt that you'd see people wearing, albeit their crest isn't particularly exciting. But I just love the colours here, and it's wonderful to see a nation get again a kit which, though it doesn't have a crazy pattern or anything like that, just from the colours and just understanding what this tournament is for them as well, I think this will go down as a memorable one regardless of how the nation do, because the fact that Curacao at the World Cup at all is incredible. And I don't love the 48 team format, but ultimately it is great to see nations like this. It is wonderful for their fans. Who knows if they'll ever get to do this again. So for them to be able to come to the tournament with a standout kit, this one has been doing the rounds. It's really been popular amongst collectors. You've seen a lot of people buy this one, which is quite, again, amazing for a nation like Curacao. So I think they've really kind of they've perfectly captured what it means to create a clean shirt. That word "clean" is used a lot, and it's often used as a derogatory term in regards to kits. But I think this one, because of the colours, and you got the Adidas trefoil, the trefoil logo, that helps as well. Honestly, one of my potentially a top 5 of all nations, all federations. I think it might be as good as that for me. So definitely one of my favourites in North America.
I think I agree. It's my number 1 as well. I think because of the colour pattern, there is a lot of yellow kits out there, but it's not. It's more of a subtle yellow, and I think the whole package is just so strong. I really like the home kit as well, with the sleeves on there are really, really smart. But for me, the away kit is up there with one of the best kits at this year's World Cup. I think was it the Peru kit we mentioned before, the ones that missed out, where they had the 3 different colours on the Adidas badge.
Yes.
Now, they haven't done this for Curacao, but they have done that on the shoulders with the 3 different strands. One's red, one's green, and one's orange, which is, as we mentioned in the kits that were gutted on there, is a really nice addition. So I think as a complete package, it's a really nice kit, and it's going to be one of those that people want to get because, as you said, you don't know when you're going to see Curacao at the World Cup. Again, it is a beautiful kit. Adidas have done so well with it, and I'm sure the nation of Curacao are delighted with it because it's going to be ones that people will remember for World Cups going forward, going to remember that kit that was absolutely stunning, and it is going to be one that people will remember. So we mentioned it last time, it's probably going to be ruined by the debut badges, isn't it? But aside from that, it is absolutely fantastic. So we after a bit of disagreement, number 2 in Haiti, we come together. We come together for number 1. Curacao, a fantastic, and for them to get Adidas on board is huge, isn't it?
Well, I believe I might be wrong on my timings, but as far as I know, they had Adidas, but they had a very basic kit, and they basically, essentially, once they qualified, Adidas basically got this and the home shirt kind of rushed through production.
Right.
I believe that's what happened, which is obviously quite unusual. Often, of course, teams have been playing in their kits for a little bit of time. So I believe Curacao, and this happened with a few nations, we've had a lot of late releases, and theirs have only just been confirmed as well. So yeah, it was the kind of thing where, like you say, for Adidas to kind of to actually put a bit more behind it is so nice, because it would have been, again, they qualified in a kit which was essentially a piece of teamwear, so off the shelf, nothing bespoke about it. So I think clearly this shows the power of kits, that actually the likes of Adidas, they recognise that actually every single shirt that they're putting out there is something which people might buy, collectors might buy. Ultimately, it represents them as a brand as well. So you see, again, in previous editions or tournaments, they probably would have just happily not touched it. Now we're in a different climate, so this kit exists, thankfully exists because of that. And I would not be surprised if this was going into the tournament. I think it was already one of the most popular, and I think leaving it, regardless of what happens, it will be one of the most popular.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they've done such a great job. It looks really, really nice. So, Phil, let's run down your top 5 then. Remind us where we started off.
So we started off with Canada, the away shirt, I should say, followed by Panama's home shirt. Back to another host in the USA away, and the USA home was number 2, which left Curaçao's away shirt as my number 1.
Beautiful stuff. And for me, it was USA's away at 5, Canada's home at 4, Mexico's home at 3, Haiti in white. We're not quite sure which one that is, but in white at number 2, and Curacao, their away kit at number 1. If you want to let us know your thoughts on the Curacao kit, is it one of your favourites? Do you have another one that maybe edges ahead based on what's on offer at the World Cup? Is there one that you have seen and you do not like at all, maybe like Phil in the Haiti kit? Then get in touch, let us know, kitormisspod@gmail.com. Find us on socials. Do make sure you give us a follow as well, and we'll be back next Thursday to review more kits. Until then, see you later. Phil, thanks very much.
Thank you.